Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, today I decided to start a little bit of a mini series just concerning Guild, the Guild and slash the Guild War. Um, I don't know if you noticed this, but there's only 12 of us, and we make Royal Amethyst almost every time. Uh, It's either Azura or Royal Amethyst. I think our win rate for the last month has been spot on. Last 2 or 3 months, I'd say we managed to get it every single time as well. So we've got seven of those tickets up there. I don't know how long the event's been out. Obviously, the first initial couple of weeks, the first initial couple of attempts, it was all trial and error. But got it down pat. So yeah, our team is pretty phenomenal when it in terms of the fact that a 12-man guild can pretty much get amethyst all the time. I've been feeding off all of these frames. Like I don't even have any of the other ones. I mean, interdimensional. Sure, I'm a bit lazy when it comes to that, but to be fair, I probably should do it more. Let's just say that. So I'm just going to feed this off. Now, just so you know, how much does a royal frame give you? It gives you 12. How much does a interdimensional frame give you? 35. So in perspective, you can this takes every month or so to get. This takes probably every 2 weeks. Eh, it kind of equals out, right? You know what I mean? It kind of equals out. So you should be doing it. You don't really need to worry too much about the frames themselves. I don't think it is food, but we'll cover that a little bit later on. So we wanted to upgrade that bad boy. Um, this is still kind of an earlier server, so earlier as in a newer server. So we haven't quite gotten to the like whatever the maximum frame is. Um, I just logged on and I wanted to do this while we had an opportunity. So I guess the main points for today is this is day one after registration. So yesterday was registration cutoff. Um, Basically, make sure you register. If you don't register, you're not going to get anywhere. Find yourself a guild that is active. Doesn't have to be the best guild on the server, but find yourself a guild that's active, that's always talking in zone chat, always talking in guild chat, or on Discord if you use Discord. It's important. The reason why it's important is you need structure. So the first things I guess we can discuss is you need a person that's going to take charge. So another week, another war. Please remember to attack. Right. So our guild leader Vadarang does it in my personal guild. On a different server, server 69. I have a war chief called Stoogie. He runs it. But basically, you need a person that's dedicated to communicating clear, specific instructions to your members. It's very important with the larger guilds because you'll find a lot of them don't read their emails. Some attack on the first day, they forget 3, 4, 5 days, and then attack on the last day. Um, I feel like communication is key. Secondly, your defense, when you first set it up for your defense, I don't know if I can show you where my defense is actually because it's day two. Probably can't show you my defense. What I would do is I would go from your strongest team to your weakest team. So, uh, the older servers, the Whaley servers, you're going to have multiple E5 teams. Obviously, you're going to be doing it in descending order. So, don't worry too much about it if you're newer. You can, if you have the resources, you can level up additional heroes to level 100, like your light and darks that you're not going to use as food, things like that. If that makes you feel like you're contributing more, you can equip like different sets of gear on them. Like just throw any set of gear on them and just throw them into your defense status. Um, to be fair, that it really just comes down to how much are you. how many points are you feeding the other guilds? That's really why defense is important, because the later levels of the game, or should I say, the later levels of Guild War, the more opportunity you have to attack multiple targets or multiple teams on that server, so you can increase your number of points that you can accumulate daily. So it is important to have defense, but again, it's not the be all and end all. Don't feel like, oh, I'm shit. I don't really want to put a full team out. Put a full team out. Try to get a full team of level 100s out, but don't waste resources on it, and don't stress too much about it. You're not going to have the monsters as well, and things like that. But having said all of that, what do you do on day one? I generally leave it till the last hour and then I come in here and attack it. I like to see where we stand. Generally speaking, some guilds, some guilds like to have the tactic of not attacking for the first couple of rounds, just letting the more powerful guilds level up ahead of them, and then try and catch them up at the zero rank and see if they can, maybe maintain their zero rank and then steal the win for Amethyst, which is one of the tactics. As you can see, the couple of us haven't attacked yet. Uh, that's okay. They'll get around to it at some point. It's important to see what's going on the HUD. So if you click on the little eye down here, it actually shows you where the current buffs are and what the current buffs are actually doing. So vitality is HP. This is generally an official or guild leader's job. Some of them like to just do one fort and maximize it. Others like to spread the buff between other forts where they identify who's got the strongest team. So you can see that Icarus, he would have put his strongest team out, whoever this person is, and they've got a couple of V5s on there. So they've decided to buff there. What about here? Probably the same thing. Couple of E5s down the bottom. One E5, and then the last team's got a few E3s. So the guild leader would generally go through and determine who's got the most E5s. It gets harder and harder and harder, obviously, as you progress, or you can do it in whatever way you feel is necessary for a guild leader. At the end of the day, most of your most of your strongholds are going to have some form of buffage. If you like to do it in a pattern like clockwise or anti-clockwise, starting from frozen and going all the way around, you can do it like that. I personally would say identify currently who you're versing in Stronghold, who has the strongest teams, and maybe just look at buffing those. HP seems to work better than say crit. There's other buffs you can do: vitality, immortality, crit damage, attack, s- control immunity. What's the last one? Should be, if I can click it, all damage reduction. So, is there anything that really stands out to me? I think HP is important. I think all damage reduction is important. Um, Crit damage, no. Honestly, that's probably it. You don't really need attack. Control immunity is nice, but it's only 1%, whereas all damage reduced is 3%. You would probably go with vitality and all damage reduced, to be honest. Anyway, let's jump into it. So, when you're attacking, check out what your team that you're versing is. So, if you notice that your last opponent has some pretty strong teams and that fort is not being buffed, well, you're not going to throw your strongest team against them, are you? You're going to just throw whatever you have. If that makes sense, let me know in the comment section below. You don't want to waste potentially an E5 hero against the team that's going to take that hero out. So don't be afraid to mix and match. Don't be afraid to, remove or swap out your heroes depending on who you're versing. Who's this guy? He's got an E5 Penny, a Cthulhu, and a Tix. Um, it really just comes down to a point game in the end. So some of these guys have got some E5s. So you're not going to go throwing out your best heroes against them, anticipating that you're going to win, because it's probably not going to be reality. So I like to go through, in the beginning anyway, I like to go through and check out what's going on. Um, I'd say we're pretty decent. So we're not going to change too much up. The challenge mechanism is, self-explanatory. You engage in four battles, you win two. So next one as well. We won three that time. What have these guys got? He's got some E5s. We'll see. This is a Russell though, so we probably are okay with the Russell. Yep. Like I said, I don't expect to win all of them. And if you go in with the expectation that you're going to be perfect and win every single match, you're probably going to be disappointed. The game is RNG based as well. So this is kind of a weaker team that I have, but we should get at least, I think, three. We got two. That's all right. Some of these guys have got some E5s up the back. Well, Tick should probably crush it. Yeah, he got two. So, as you can see, just based on their defense tactic, they're just throwing out their strongest teams first. So that's uh that's the reality. I'll see whether or not I want to swap that out for anyone else. What's this guy got? We'll see. We'll see. Some of them you look at and you go, yeah, you don't want to just throw some points away. I think we should be okay. At least you get two or three out of this one. Two. And this is just an average team. Didn't expect any wins there. And then we're probably not going to get any wins here either. We got one win. The pet makes a difference in the end. And then we can throw this guy in here. And we got one win. So there you go. I mean, there was no point, at no stage did we think we're not going to progress. Most people, most people don't stress too much about changing it up. Change it up if you think you've got a surefire win. I do. I will change it up if we're close to, if we're close to dropping down a level or proceeding up a level. I do change it up. That's my personal preference. By level I mean rank. That's when it becomes a little bit more like you want to swap out some of your equipment. We may get to that. I might show you on a couple of the other guilds, and when we get into situations where we can swap out equipment to see if we can boost the result. But ultimately, that's that's pretty much in a nutshell. Make sure you've got a dedicated person that's doing the communication. Make sure that you have active players. If you don't have active players, cull them. Get rid of them. Simple. Make your expectations clear in the beginning and say, hey, if you don't participate in Guild War, thank you for your time, but I don't think this guild is for me or for you, for that matter. Do you mind if we just drop you? If they say, look, we want to participate in Guild War, sure, give them a shot. Give them a couple of shots. But at the end of the day, if you're really hunting for the Royal Amethyst because you can't make Maverick or you choose not to make Maverick in IDA, then, it does become a little bit more important, especially if you don't have your Black Friday frame, if you didn't spend for that. Again, it is important to get at least the Royal Amethyst frame um, if you don't have any of the other alternatives that I just mentioned. So, but after you get the first frame, it doesn't really matter anymore. Um, to be fair, it doesn't matter anymore. The value decreases, except for the food. But we'll talk about that towards the end when we finish it off and we see how we ranked. But like I said, you don't need to have a full guild to get to Royal Amethyst. You just need people that can communicate clearly and that are committed to progressing. We'll talk about some strategies mid and late Guild War battle. But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. Let me know if this sort of interests you. If you can maybe towards the end, if you pick up on any tips and tricks or make some suggestions, I'd be happy to hear it. But I'll catch you in the next one.